Shawty's hella bad, after her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that, I think she's feeling me. Turn it up a few degrees, my imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease, bitten lips, bruised knees. I'm addicted to her, need her touching me.
Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today we are going to be diving down into the world of Cardano, specifically taking a look at some of the things that have been going on not only with the price action but also the scalability issues with Cardano. As we get into the video, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then do go ahead and subscribe. Tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you are going to be kept up to date with all of the videos that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all of this said, done and out of the way, let's jump on down into the desktop and take a look at what is going on here with Cardano. Okay guys, we're going to start things off by taking a look at the 11 ways Cardano will scale in 2022. For those who are unfamiliar, Cardano has been under the spotlight recently in terms of scalability issues, reaching pretty high throughput issues in terms of scalability at around 94-95%. There's a lot of activity going on with Cardano, specifically around NFTs, but a lot of other kind of transactional stuff with SundaeSwap going live, and that you actually start to see a lot of issues in terms of bottlenecking the scalability aspects of Cardano. So there were 11 things here that ultimately are going to help with that issue. Increasing the block size from 64 to 72 kilobits makes a pretty much a 12.5% increase, which will basically be applied over time based on ongoing systems monitoring, and overall network health will be improved due to this. So pretty good stuff. Now pipelining, I'm not going to go into too much details, but you get the idea here. And again, this is all on the 𝗖𝗢𝗠𝗘𝗡𝗧𝗏 blog. I will put this into the description down below so you can have a proper read of it if you're interested. But yeah, we do have pipelining. We have input endorser. So again, I'm not going to go through it all, but we have memory and CPU parameters for Plutus, the Plutus script enhancements, basically reference inputs, Plutus datums CIP0032. We have a script sharing or CIP0033. There are some node enhancements, so some on-disk storage, right? So these ones here are, pretty much the on-chain metrics that are going to be improved upon. And then we have the off-chain. So side chains, obviously, absolutely massive. So for those who do not know, side chains are going to be one of the main things that really do drive scalability for Cardano. Along with that, we obviously have Hydra, which will be absolutely massive in itself. Again, we've spoken about Hydra quite a few times on the channel. It's going to be absolutely massive. And this is what's going to really increase that throughput for Cardano. 1,000 transactions per second per node, it's going to be absolutely massive. So very important. Off-chain computing, obviously going to be very, very helpful. And Mithril at the end here as well. Cannot overlook Mithril. Very, very important. If you're not familiar, do some more research in and on that one. So ultimately, those are the 11 things that are going to be improved upon in 2022 to help with the scalability issues with Cardano. So the kind of things that we're witnessing right now in terms of load and issue, they are eventually going to disappear. So let's talk about what is going on here with the price action of ADA. What do I think is likely to happen next here with Cardano and all of that kind of good stuff? Now, I'm going to do this in a couple of different ways. We're going to first of all start with the hourly, and then we're going to work our way up to the bigger picture and what is going on there. Now, I do think there's going to be some volatility on the smaller time frame. So we are expecting some kind of pullback. We're going to be watching that and watching out for that, and some fantastic opportunities of accumulation for Cardano's ADA towards the bottom of the chart here. So let's get into our hourly chart to start with, right? So as we can see, there's a bigger ABC move coming down. This actually shows us about 95.8 cent. Obviously, we haven't actually seen this one play out just yet. Instead, we've actually been kind of trading sideways right inside here. And this is an interesting point. If we actually draw some trend lines, guys know I'm not a big fan of trend lines. They're easy to invalidate, but we will draw them on here because it does illustrate the what we're trying to actually articulate here as well. So we actually effectively have this upward trend line, an ascending trend line, and a descending trend line. We are basically getting coiled up inside here, right? And there's lots of different ways you can look at it, etc. Now we could either look at this as an Elliott wave triangle, possibly. Maybe I have to just extend this one down out here, maybe, and bring that in. We're looking for a couple of touch points. Maybe I extend this one out here as well a little bit. I think there's something here going on with the kind of larger plays. Now, what we're actually talking about here is if this triangular wedge does play out, maybe it is an Elliott wave triangle. What does that actually mean? Well, you can kind of see that we have a really sharp decrease here, and then a pull up. Okay, so that call that wave 2, and then a pull back for wave 3, push up for wave 4, which is this triangle, and then a potential pullback down lower. Okay, so we want to be watching out for these kind of things. There is a potential play slightly lower, so we want to watch out for that. But ultimately, I'm going to clean this up a little bit, and we're just going to focus in on that here in the now for now. Okay, so we're just going to refocus in on this. So what you can see here is an ABC move to the downside, right? Regardless of these trend lines that I've drawn up. So we have this ABC down. It hasn't come in yet. Instead, we started to trade sideways here. We set that newer or lower high point, and we started to come back down, retesting this low point here as well before bouncing from this line. Now, here we can obviously acknowledge that maybe there's an A, maybe there's a B wave coming down, maybe there's a C wave up, and maybe there's an E wave here looking for a progression to the upside. I don't think that is the case. If anything, we actually have an A coming down, a B, a C, a D, and an E somewhere else maybe. I don't think there's necessarily a perfect triangle here, so I think I'm just going to ignore that kind of aspect of it, and what we're going to really focus in on is a triangular wedge, but we are looking to break it, and we are looking to come back down in towards these low points. Now, in order to invalidate any of this, we have our invalidation point, this being $1.15.7. Really important that we know not only just what we think is likely to happen, but what would invalidate our thought process. So for Cardano, if we actually move up towards $1.15.7, anything above that invalidates this move to the downside here of about 95.8 cents. Okay, so obviously with that being said, we obviously have our invalidation point, and we know what we think our low point is going to be on the short time frame. Now here we can see that we had an ABC down, we had some kind of ABC up, and again we are then pulling back down. We've completed this kind of move. I expect some kind of small ABC move here, and then continuation down. Now the clearest thing here is that it is a descending. Okay, so we are definitely in some kind of descending corrective action here. It's not impulsive anywhere. We have lots of overlap and all of that kind of stuff, so it's not impulsive down, but it's just very choppy, it's very corrective, and it is declining. The trend is down, right? So it's important that we can understand that. So what we're looking for here is we are looking to go down lower than $1.05, effectively this low point that we had over here on our A wave. Anything lower than that confirms a C wave, so we are looking to get that confirmation in due course that confirms that our C wave comes down. Now the most probable area for our C wave comes in here at 95.8, but of course we hadn't acknowledged that it can be higher, it can be lower, but that's the most probable area that I'm thinking Cardano is likely to go to on the smaller time frame. Okay, so as Bitcoin starts to pull back, and we can acknowledge, of course, that this low target for Cardano could be valid, and we could be looking at some pretty decent discounted rates for Cardano ahead of any potential bigger moves to the upside. Okay, obviously, if we cross this low point of A, then we've actually completed C technically, and we can remove the invalidation point. It's irrelevant at that point. Okay, so let's jump on up into our daily view, and I'll just remove some of the noise here. So we can see that we have our C wave target. This C wave target actually looks like something we've already actually experienced, and we're waiting to kind of see this kind of progression back to the upside. Now this is actually an A, a B, and a C coming down. Now it's possible that we go down a little bit lower and all that kind of stuff. We are very aware that we are trying to track for a much bigger play to the upside on our daily and weekly charts. Now, I might not have this exactly right, so I'll remove it for now. But what I'm thinking here is that this, what I assume to be the fourth wave low, just at this point here, might have been a fourth wave low, but it might have been within a third wave up, because this all-time high that was set here of $3.10, I think it was approximately, $3.10, is out of the ordinary. And then obviously we started to see this pullback down, and if this is a quite a significant pullback, then we want to be acknowledging a potential ABC here being an A wave, this being a B wave, and then a potential pullback down further. Now if that is the case in our corrective action, what does that actually mean for Cardano? Where does this thing go down to? About 62 cents. And again, this is kind of like worst case scenario in terms of people who are holding or hodling Cardano versus people who maybe are looking for the opportunity to continue to build a really strong position with ADA. So right there, you could potentially be looking at a little bit lower, and actually that's our fourth wave. And then we look for progression to the upside, new all-time highs, and all of that kind of good stuff. Now, if that is the case, and we actually go ahead and move this down, our fifth wave, the most probable area would be $8.21. Okay, so if that is in fact what I think is likely to occur here, and if I actually zoom on out, what this would effectively mean is that all of this move here is actually 5 waves. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and the low point, and 5 up here. Okay, and for that we want to check to also make sure that that's valid, and we want to just check this. It probably won't quite align to where I want, a little bit short of that 1.618 area there at 337, but very, very close. Okay, so if that is in fact 5 waves there, then what does that actually mean for us? Well, it would effectively mean that we are in corrective action down and then continuation up. Okay, now that might not be the perfect way of kind of looking at it. Lots of different ways to kind of do your wave counts, etc. But this very corrective action, not impulsive down, is quite encouraging, in line with Bitcoin. Obviously, there's no guarantee that we go down to 62 cent, and there's a lot of possibility that actually we find some good, strong areas of resistance and support on that journey. So, for example, the 786 is a really strong area. You find a lot of support in that zone, and that for Cardano would be 84 cent. Now we also look back here and we start to think about where else we've actually seen support. 68.3, obviously on the line here of $1. And there's a few other areas around here as well, about 80 cent. So there's some potential discounts available. I don't think we're going to go all the way down to 62 cent. But it is crypto, and anything is possible, right? So it's important that we understand that. Ultimately, though, I do think that we're going to be seeing some new all-time highs in 2022. Whether we actually pull back down that low and we see a flash crash of some sort that basically sees, an amount of nearly 80% of value lost, very, very extreme kind of way of looking at it, and would present ourselves with a fantastic opportunity to build a really good position with Cardano ahead of where it is going to go next, which I do believe could potentially be over $8, right? Which would be fantastically high. And again, I do think that you'd have an impulsive move at that point as well, right? So what you're really looking for is whenever you find this bottom, whether it is 62 cent or 90 cent, what we're looking for is the impulsive break to the upside that takes out into those zones, right? So those are the kind of things that we're really looking for. We haven't seen it yet. We've seen corrective action, and what we're looking for is impulsive action to the upside. Aligned with Bitcoin, obviously, as Bitcoin starts to pull back and starts to reach its low areas, we do anticipate a nice impulsive break to the upside. Pretty much most of the projects that we're looking at right now in terms of the charts, they are indicating very choppy corrective action on the smaller timeframes, and hopefully once all that kind of stuff is done and out of the way, we're actually going to be looking at some impulsive break reversal and new all-time high to the upside. Pretty much most of the projects that I've reviewed on this channel, and a lot of other analysts out there are very much aligned to the fact that new all-time highs are just around the corner. We're not seeing the data that supports a bear market. In fact, all we're really seeing here is accumulation happen, and we're seeing prices that are being manipulated down or are being affected by the stock market, etc. Right now we're actually in a pretty good strong position for things like Cardano to basically be dollar cost averaging really strong positions. Specifically, if ADA does actually drop down below $1 again, those are some fantastic opportunities for accumulation, in my opinion. Of course, that is all it is. I am not a financial advisor. I cannot offer you financial advice. So it's important that you do your own research, use what I've kind of shown you here inside the charts, and obviously understand all the fundamentals and ignore the FUD, right? I'm going to leave the video there. If you have found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then do go ahead and subscribe. Tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you are going to be kept up to date with all of the videos that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.